In this video, I'll show you how to check if a company has a valid VAT number within the EU on your WooCommerce store. Now, a lot of VAT registered companies in the EU are tax exempt. So in this situation, you want to offer that tax exemption on your WooCommerce store. But before you do that, you want to just double check that the VAT number that the company enters is valid and actually match the details that they've entered on their checkout page. So I'll show you a quick and simple method of how you can implement this on your WooCommerce store in just a few simple steps. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so here we are on our demo site and we're currently on our WooCommerce checkout page. And currently I've got this checkbox here which says I want to claim tax exemption, or we could say VAT exemption, right? So if the customer ticks this option here, if they're entering a valid VAT number, then the tax should be removed, because that's how I've configured this to work on my particular store, okay? So let's go ahead and enter in a valid VAT number. Well, first let's enter in an invalid VAT number. And here, as you can see, it's showing up that it's invalid. And this is just a custom message which I've added here, which shows up whenever the VAT number checks comes back invalid. And we can see the tax is still being applied as it should. So now let's go ahead and enter in a valid VAT number. And here you can see it returns valid. It's got the business name and address. And the tax has been removed successfully, because again, this is how I've configured it in my store. So whenever a business who's VAT registered and qualified for tax exemption, whenever they're entering a valid VAT number, then we want to remove the tax from their order, okay? And this check is done using the VAT information exchange system, which works for companies within the EU, right? So if you want to create a similar setup on your WooCommerce store, the first step is to head over to AovUp.com, go ahead and download the tax exemption rules plugin by AovUp. I'll leave a link in the description below. And with that being said, let's head over to our dashboard. Assuming you've downloaded a tax exemption rule by AovUp, the next step is to go ahead and upload that plugin. So we'll go plugins, add new, go ahead and upload and install the plugin. Once you've done so, you'll see this WooSuite menu here. In the future, it might say AovUp. We've just done a rebranding. Okay, so then we'll just navigate to activate. Go ahead and enter in your license key. Once you've done so, it will automatically redirect you to this add-on section. Now we can just scroll down and go ahead and activate the tax exemption rule. So I've already got this activated. So now the next step is to go ahead and configure our rule, right? So we'll head over to tax exemption rule here. Okay, so we can do a few things with this plugin. So we can create a tax exemption rule based on a specific product, based on a specific category, based on when a customer is shopping in a specific country, or even if they have a certain user role. But for this example, I'm just going to keep it super simple, and I'm going to tax exempt the customer order if they enter in a valid VAT number within the EU, okay? So to create that, so I'm just going to head over to tax options. Okay, and then we just want to enable this option here where it says enable tax exemption checkbox on the checkout page. Okay, so we just want to make sure we enable this option, and here we can add a custom label. So I'm just going to quickly head over to the checkout page and I'll walk you through what I'm changing just so it makes more sense. Okay, so let's just head over to our checkout page. Okay, so here we are on our checkout page, and here you can see the tax on this particular order is $43.80, right? So here we've got this tax exemption option here where it says, do you want to include tax exemption? So we can customize this word in here. If we head back here, this is where we can customize that word in, okay? So we can say, for example, I want to claim tax exemption. So you can just name it to whatever you want. Okay, so I'm just going to refresh the checkout page and we should see the label change here. Okay. Okay, as you can see, the wording's updated fine. And when the customer ticks this option, then the tax will be removed, okay? So we don't want to just leave it there, because anyone can tick this option and remove the tax from their order when it probably shouldn't be, okay? So we just want to add a extra step, and this is where our VAT validation will come in. So here where it says custom message on the order completion page. So if a customer's ticked the box where it says they're tax exempt, then on the thank you page, maybe you want to collect some additional information from them, okay? So here you can add to fill out a particular form where maybe you want them to upload their tax exemption certificate or any other thing like that, okay? Okay, so to add our tax validation, we just want to enable this option here where it says show tax input field. Okay, this is slightly better. So let's just save changes here and then I'll show you what's changed on the checkout page. Okay, so if we refresh this page, now if we tick this option to say that we want to claim a tax exemption, here we need to enter in our VAT number, right? Okay, but currently there's no check being applied. They're just entering their VAT number. So if we want to add that extra check, we just want to make sure we enable this option where it says enter tax validation, okay? And here we can display a custom message in the event that the VAT number that the customer enters isn't valid, right? And we'll get to this shortly. And then validation mode, we will select the VAT information exchange system validation, right? So this works for companies within the EU. So let's select this option here and then we'll go ahead and save changes. Okay, and now when we refresh our checkout page, okay, so even though we've ticked this option to say we want to claim a tax exemption, as you can see, the tax is still displaying here and it will continue to include a tax until the customer's entered in a valid VAT number, okay? So let's give this a go. So here we're just checking to make sure that this VAT number is actually valid. And as you can see, it's valid here. It's got the company's name and the company's address, okay? So let's remove this. So now let's try to do a fake VAT number. As you can see, the VAT number is invalid and the tax is still being applied. So, and let's say the VAT number isn't registered in the VAT information exchange system. Then maybe we want to show a custom message to request that the customer contacts support to get the issue resolved. Okay, so we can customize the message here. So we can say, okay, so we can say something like, we can't automatically verify your VAT number. Please email support, and maybe we can add an email address to the support or even a contact number, okay? So we can save changes. And now let's refresh this page. And again, let's enter in some random numbers, which is clearly incorrect. So when the VAT check comes back invalid, we can show this custom message here. And that's a quick and simple way to check the validity of a company's VAT number in the EU on your WooCommerce store in just a few simple steps. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like this. And if you got any questions, leave it in the comment box below or reach out to support and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.